Chelsea's first Premier League win under Enzo Maresca arrived in some style on Sunday, as the Blues came away from Molineux with an incredible 6-2 victory over Wolverhampton Wanderers. In a breathtaking and end-to-end first half, Chelsea led twice, first through Nicholas Jackson in the second minute, and then through Cole Palmer on the cusp of the break, before being pegged back by goals from Matheus Cunha and Jurgen Strand Larsen. Noni Madueke scored a stunning 14-minute hat-trick to start the second period, with each of the goals being set up by Palmer. Substitutes Pedro Neto and Joao Felix then combined for the sixth and final goal 10 minutes from time, on the Portuguese's second debut for the club. Funnily enough, Wolves won the game based on expected goals, highlighting nothing other than the clinical finishing from Chelsea on the day. The six goals we scored came from a total XG of just 0.73, with the post-shot XG being almost two goals better at 2.71. With both teams starting with a 4-2-3-1 formation, there were a whole host of one-on-one battles all over the pitch. Maresca fielded two out-and-out wingers in Mikhailo Mudryk and Noni Madueke, with Enzo Fernandez and Cole Palmer as the two advanced midfielders, and Malo Gusto inverting from right back alongside Moises Caicedo to form a 3-2-5 or 3-box-3 shape. Wolves defended narrow, with the two wide players tucking inside to cover the central areas. Robert Sanchez was heavily involved in build-up and in inviting the Wolves' press, with Wesley Fofana and Marc Cucurella staying wide to form a four-man back line. With Jean-Rigna Bellegarde tucking inside to stay with the inverting Gusto, Fofana often had significant acreage in front of him to drive into. Here, in the first half, the Frenchman is the free man to receive from Caicedo, goes forward and passes up the opportunity to play Palmer through. Here in the second half, he receives from Sanchez and carries the ball a long way before being fouled by Ryan Nori. In games where neither our fullbacks bomb forward on the overlap, we will see teams setting up with this narrow shape, and our wide centre-backs will be instrumental in the first phase. Reece James played on the right of this back three in pre-season, and the position does look tailor-made for him when he comes back. Levi Colwill can do a similar job on the other side, with Gusto stepping into midfield from left back. In the forward areas, Enzo and Palmer look to remain wide and combine with the wingers, looking to form 2v1s against the opposition fullback. This forced the two Wolves midfielders Joao Gomez and Mario Lemina to constantly keep an eye over their shoulders and to stay pinned back. Enzo's movement, particularly in the first half, opened up the passing lane to Jackson up front. Here, the Argentine is found by Colwill on the left wing and is followed by Gomez. Notice the gaping hole in the center that is created as a result of this, as the center forward comes short and then runs in behind. Enzo's ball is near perfect, but Jose Sa acts as a sweeper keeper to clear. In another instance, the Chelsea captain drags Gomez deep with him, opening up the space for Colwill to find Jackson. When Wolves pressed more aggressively with Gomez further up the pitch, as in this case, Enzo's movement out wide draws out the centre-back, Yerson Mosquera. This time Cucurella plays the ball to Jackson, and while we weren't able to make the most of this particular situation, the movement from defense to attack was super simple and swift. In the second half, we saw Lamina pushing further forward to Marc Gusto, with Bellegarde looking to stop Fofana from advancing on the wide right. With Palmer and Madueke pinning their men back, this once again opened up space for Jackson to drop deep to receive a pass from the defensive line, something we saw on multiple occasions. Like here, when the Senegalese forward receives from Colwill and is able to turn and run at the Wolves' backline, with Palmer and Madueke both sprinting forward on the right. Just as Jackson gets ready to play the pass through, he is fouled by Lamina. Here, with Wolves pressing man for man high up the pitch, Sanchez plays a first-time ball to pick out the striker. Jackson isn't able to make the ball stick under pressure from Mosquera on this occasion, but he has proven to be an asset with his back to goal. With Gary O'Neill's men defending narrow, the switch out to Chelsea's wingers was often on, with the wide players hugging the touchline and making the pitch as wide as possible. Here, Chelsea's build-up starts on the right, with before Gusto switches for Mudryk on the left, while here Enzo plays the diagonal from the left-hand side to Madueke, who had 8 Nori on toast throughout the game. The Englishman was on it right from the first minute, when he drew the first save of the afternoon from Sa. The Wolves left back had no idea how to handle Madueke, who was equally adept at shifting inside onto his stronger left foot or cutting outside onto his right. Two of the three goals he scored were through superb finishes with his weaker peg, as was his goal against Servette last Thursday. Despite the fantastic result, the first half would have been way too open for Maresca's liking. As the name suggests, going man for man means making individual errors, and losing 1v1 battles is something we cannot afford, and there were several lax moments in the opening 45. Caicedo in particular had a pretty poor half, losing possession on more than one occasion to set Wolves away. Here, he seems to have multiple passing options but dwells on the ball for too long, leading to a dangerous turnover. Here, his pass to Enzo is intercepted, once again leading to a switch in possession. With Gusto in midfield, it was down their left-hand side that Wolves looked most dangerous in transition. It was Caicedo who once again lost possession in the build-up to Wolves' opener, with 8 Nori scything through Chelsea's midfield before setting up Cunha. The intensity and alertness were much better in the second half, as we were able to squeeze Wolves into smaller areas of the pitch and win the ball back high up. The high-octane style of play we are looking to implement under Maresca is one that involves multiple risks and multiple rewards, and we saw both sides to that either side of the interval. The home side's best chance of the second period also came from a Chelsea error, when substitute Kiernan Dewsbury Hall's loose pass saw Strand Larsen go through on goal, but the Norwegian striker shanked his shot wide. Attacking fullbacks could cause problems for us this season, but our wingers weren't tested too much in a defensive sense in this game, with neither Matt Doherty nor Ait Nouri being very effective going forward. There were, though, a couple of moments of concern in the first half, as here Lamina dances past all of Madueke, Palmer, and Caicedo before playing in Doherty, whose run isn't tracked by Mudryk. The right back's cutback finds Cunha, whose shot is deflected over brilliantly by Colwell. On the other side, Ait Nori nearly got his second assist of the game after running past Madueke, but his blistering cross was just inches away from Strand Larsen. Finally, our defending from set pieces wasn't something to write home about either. Mosquera could and probably should have scored from a free header from a corner early on in the game, while both Totti Gomez and Strand Larsen were completely unmarked in Wolves' second equaliser, which came from a free kick. Even though the good definitely outweighed the bad on Sunday afternoon, it's important not to get carried away. Wolves are now on a run of 9 defeats in 12 in the Premier League, stretching back to last season, and were far from perfect in their attempt to adopt a more positive attack-minded style under O'Neill. But with more and more teams in the league looking to play on the front foot and win the ball back high up the pitch, this will likely not be the last time we see Chelsea putting an opposition to the sword this season. For Noni Madueke, some might say that his comments online about the town of Wolverhampton before the game were bang out of order, but he's come out of this whole thing looking like a rock and roll star. Despite the constant boos and jeers from the home crowd, this is not a day at which he will look back in anger. I'm sorry, but they're back.